159 it is for the Rajasthan Royals to chase to win their third game this season. It was a bit of a mixed bag of a performance from their batsman Tom Murray alongside through this digital screen on Whirlpool presents ESPN Cricket for T20 timeout powered by Dell. Tom, 159, not too far from what you had predicted. Things went as per plan?
Yeah, look, I think the Sunrisers will be happy with that result. I believe, just looking at that innings, that it's not the easiest pitch to bat on. It's not a pitch that it's, with movement off the seam or dramatic spin, it's going to get you out. But what it is, a pitch that makes it hard for the freedom of stroke play. We saw throughout that innings a number of players really finding it difficult to find the timing to hit the fours and the sixes. So I think they'll be happy with that, but they'll know they'll need to bowl well.
Right. In the power play, they scored about 26. They lost Bairstow just the 1-4 and 1-6. While you said the conditions did not allow free-flowing stroke play, do you think they were being a bit too cautious?
No, I think you've got to give credit where it's due. I thought Rajasthan bowled well. They bowled well up front, particularly Jofra Archer, bowled with great pace and control, made it very difficult for both Bairstow and Warner to get their innings going. But what they did do was show their experience and not panic. And in that situation, what can quite often happen is that, the batsmen try to go against the play and do something that is not there to be done and find themselves losing their wickets, therefore ending up 2 or 3 wickets down. Sunrisers didn't do that. Both Warner and Bairstow got off to a steady start. Then Manish Pandey also came in and steadied the ship. He was, you could argue that he was slow to begin with, but I think that was more of a reflection of just the way the pitch was playing. It was a difficult wicket to get in, but once he got in, he showed that, you can accelerate through your innings, and he ended up with a reasonable strike rate of close to 125.
Yes, at one stage he was batting 31 of 31. Did Virat Kohli set a template for the second half of the tournament, especially in Dubai? Did they try to do what Virat Kohli did last night? Very cautious early on and then trying to gather enough intel on the surface and then go big, which is what Pandey did in the end.
Yeah, look, whether they watched Kohli bat or not is another matter. They possibly did, but I think what it is a template to bat in those conditions. So good players recognise in the first half, or if not more than the first half of your innings, you need to be a little bit respectful of the conditions, appreciating that you can't sort of produce something that's not there. To play with freedom and play those strokes that, whistle through the field for 4 or over the fence for 6. You need a surface where the ball comes onto the bat so you get that timing and power. When it's just holding in the surface, it makes it very difficult to hit the ball consistently in the middle of the bat. So you feel like you're having to club the ball against just time the ball. So, the Sunrisers recognised that, and I thought that was a pretty efficient and pretty professional performance to get to what is, I think, a pass score.
You saw Warner and Pandey both bat in a similar fashion. Now, is the assumption, with that approach, that we will be able to up our run rate towards the end? Is that path fraught with danger because this team doesn't have much firepower in the lower order? It could have backfired really badly today.
I think they batted according to the conditions. They couldn't do anything more than what was on offer. And I think they both still ran hard between the wickets. They did all the hard work, in between that innings by, the urgency between the wickets, which is something that the Sunrisers is renowned for. So they picked up a few extra runs there and they did their best to try to find the boundary. But as I've sort of stated, it is not an easy pitch to score 4s and 6s. They recognise that, so they still managed to build a valuable partnership, which has basically given them a very competitive score. If they played recklessly and tried to play against the conditions, they could have easily found themselves only getting 130.
Right, just a quick one before we move to the Rajasthan Royals bowling. When Manish Pandey got out, Michael Slater was on air and he said, fitness. Now, the common viewer who doesn't follow the sport as closely as you would, or a cricket opinion maker would, that viewer might think, hang on, this is top level cricket. They're used to playing in the IPL, in the Indian summer, April, May. That's pretty tough as well. How does a top level cricketer who works on his fitness through the year not have enough gas to bat with the same intensity for 20 overs?
I think you've misinterpreted, and probably a lot of people have misinterpreted what Michael Slater's saying there. He's basically saying that he is suffering from exhaustion and dehydration. It's about 38, 39 degrees in Dubai. It's the middle or the early afternoon, very, very intense heat. So it's not got nothing to do with fitness. It's got more to do with fatigue. Fitness, Manish Pandey, I can assure you, is as fit as any cricketer going around. It's more fatigue, and I think that's the word he should have used.
Right. Lots of runs in the last couple of overs. I believe they got him for 35. But barring that, what do you make of Unadkat and his relevance to his team in the second half of the tournament, given the kind of bowler he is?
Well, I think his relevance, should be very important, particularly given the conditions that we're starting to see unfold with the pitches slowing down a little bit. So his variety of changes of pace may be valuable. I think he possibly overused the slower ball at the back end of this innings and became a little bit too predictable. I think when it comes to bowling at the back end of the innings, you need to, yes, be able to change your pace cleverly. You need to also be able to bowl the Yorker. Also helps if you can bowl a quick bouncer, but you need to be unpredictable. One thing you can't afford to do is do too many of those, those various things. So you can't afford to be bowling too many Yorkers because it becomes predictable. You can't afford to be bowling too many slower balls and so on. Otherwise, the batsman can line you up knowing what's coming.
Right. We spent a fair bit of time talking about Ben Stokes and what he will do to his side, but they bowled him just for 1 over. Did that surprise you?
It did surprise me. I thought he may have bowled a couple more overs. He only went for the 7 runs in that 1 over. Rahul Tewatia ended up bowling 4 overs for 35 with his leg spin, and he's not like a specialist leg spinner. He's a batsman that bowls leg spin. So I was a little bit surprised Stokes didn't bowl, 2 if not 3 overs just to be able to take the pressure off the other bowlers.
Right, now let's move to the Hyderabad bowling. Is the 5th bowler a bit of a vulnerability because they'll have to have Shankar Williamson and Abhishek Sharma manage those 4 overs of the 5th bowler?
I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. Because I think if anything, the Sunrisers are in a better position this game than they have been in previous games because Vijay Shankar's come back into the side. Again, he's not a specialist bowler, but he's a batsman that does bowl some very handy medium pace. So I think, between Vijay Shankar and Abhishek Sharma, I think they both will comfortably manage that 5th bowler position. And I'd imagine, given the conditions that are on offer there, with the wicket being a little bit slower, that the left arm spin of Abhishek Sharma will be more than useful. And also just the medium pace bowling that Sunrisers have, bowling stump to stump, may be the perfect type of bowling on this surface.
Is bowl slow, don't give the batsman any pace to work with, the way to go on the surface?
Yeah, I think so. I think you need to bowl straight. Excuse me, back of a length, straight, very much attacking the middle stump and asking the batsman to create the pace. On a slowish wicket, what you're wanting is the bowler to be giving you pace. The exception of that is someone like Jofra Archer, who is extreme pace, and then it's a different ball game. But if you're, that pace between 135 and 140, it's the type of pace you welcome on a slower surface.
Right. The big question for Rashid Khan fans is, will he be bowling in the power play against Butler, because he's troubled Butler in the past?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty wise move, and I'd be surprised if Rashid's not brought in for at least an over in the power play, just for that pure matchup. He has had the edge against Joss Butler. He has been also used in that situation before, where he's been brought in early to match up against Butler. Butler's such a threat. And when you've got someone of Rashid Khan's class, and also his form at the moment is very good. Why not use it against one of their major threats?
Right. Just a quick word on Sanju Samson, who seems to have gone off the boil a little bit. A, what's going wrong with him? And B, does he need to somehow press the reset button on things? If yes, how?
Yeah, look, it's an interesting one. He started the tournament sort of jumping out of the blocks, and I think in a way, starting his campaign in Sharjah probably hasn't helped him, as silly as that sounds, because he's played on a very, very flat wicket on a very small ground. So he's got himself into some runs early, but also potentially a false sense of, what's required to adapt and score runs in different conditions. So it's going to be a real challenge for him on this surface. We all know that he's a hugely talented player, but on a slower surface, slightly bigger ground, he's going to have to look to play and adjust his game accordingly. It's not a case of going out there and just hitting through the line, which you can do in Sharjah, and the ball just disappears for 4 or 6. It's more batsmanship that's required on this surface, on this big ground.
And as you had predicted, Ben Stokes is opening the innings for Rajasthan Royals. What are you expecting from him?
Yeah, look, I quite like the idea of that. It gives him a chance to settle in. We all know he's a world-class batsman. And it gives them the left-hander option as well. So with Butler being the right-hander, you've got a good left-right-hand combination up front. Gives them a chance to settle in also with the power play overs with the field restrictions.
And at number 3, Samson, Smith?
Oh, look, I'd imagine it's going to be Smith. He is captain after all, isn't he? So he gets the say. So I'd imagine it's going to stick with Smith then Samson.
Say Stokes gets off to a flyer, how much is that going to liberate Steve Smith? Just takes the pressure off, saying there's another big gun who's going to do the run scoring as well.
Yeah, I think it takes the pressure off the whole team if Stokes managed to get some runs early in this tournament, and particularly this game. It's going to take pressure off that middle order. Again, they're bringing in a world-class batsman into their top 5 or 6. It's only going to make Rajasthan, I suppose, a little bit more confident and a little bit more secure with their batting lineup.
159 to win, Tom. Are Rajasthan going to get it?
I think they're going to have to play well to get it, to be honest with you. I think Sunrisers are used to playing, on surfaces like this. They're very used to defending modest totals. So they'll be up for this. Rashid Khan's going to be a handful, like he always is. It's really down to, is there something special in the bank with Rajasthan's top 4?
Right, Sandeep Sharma to bowl the first over. Rashid Khan in the next?
Well, I haven't got a crystal ball, but whether it's the next or certainly within the first 4 overs, it'd be nice to see him get an over.
Right, interesting game. Much better than those 200+ chases. These kind of 160 chases always give us a great game. So we'll talk to you, Tom, once again a little later, which is for the end show of the first match, and we'll also build up to the second game tonight. Ronak Kapoor will be in action right here. For now, Tom, thanks so much for joining us on Whirlpool ESPN Cricket 4 T20 Timeout, powered by Dell. We'll see you after the innings.